See here. Awesome. And we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our stream today. So let's make sure the stream is actually live here. Yeah, looks like it's working okay. If y'all can hear me okay, let me know down in the comment section below or in the live chat replay here. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We're looking at updated release date for the Ethereum 2.0 merge and when that could happen. Okay, this is actually a lot sooner than I think some people are thinking, even that I've been thinking as I've been talking about in these live streams. So this is pretty big stuff. Okay, we're gonna look at that. We're gonna look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in the space since yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday, rain or shine on this channel. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You're gonna find out about this whenever we go live. We're going to answer some of your questions, check on the crypto markets, look at some of the trends on chain, and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to have a master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to start today. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We've got Culture Highs, Rodrigo, Kodia, let's see here, MD, I hope I'm saying that right, Automatic Beats. I'll see here, Reg. All right, welcome. So let's jump into this. Let's talk about the Ethereum 2.0 merge, okay, and when this is going to happen, an updated release. So I'm assuming that most people watching this video kind of get the basic idea of what the merge is, but there's a quick reminder is we've got the Ethereum 2.0 blockchain that's being built on the Beacon chain right now. It's live, and if you use Ethereum today, use Ethereum 1.0. And the merge is the big event where proof of stake gets turned on for the Ethereum blockchain, because right now we're trying proof of work, because we're taking these two blockchains and merging them together. So hence the merge. This is one of the most anticipated events in all of crypto since really I've been in the space. I mean, we've been talking about the ETH 2.0 merge since 2017. A lot of people thought it was going to happen in like 2017 or 2018. Of course, didn't happen. Wait for it for a long time, and it's going to be here soon. So I've been talking on this channel a lot that, many were anticipating the merge in June of this year in Q2. I was thinking like, hey, that's not going to happen. Okay, pushing my expectations off. And then I've said basically like, hey, I think it's going to be in 2022, but not exactly sure when, but putting the expectations to the back half of the year. But here we have an update from Ethereum core team member about a merge that could be even sooner than that. So let's look at this. This happened yesterday at the not yesterday, I think it was yesterday at the permissionless conference. It was asked about this on a panel on stage, okay? And they were basically talking about like, hey, we got this difficulty bomb, which basically is this mechanism inside the Ethereum chain that's going to go off at the end of August, I believe, which basically makes it just too hard to mine Ethereum or Ether on the main Ethereum chain itself. So basically the whole idea is like whenever ETH merges, the old ETH1 chain, they don't want miners just continuing to run that blockchain and then have, everything, have this old legacy chain going after we all fork and, move over to this merged new ETH 2.0 chain. They have this mechanism called the difficulty bomb, hard-coded into the software, okay? And so basically, like, they're saying, like, hey, we got this difficulty bomb, and we've pushed it back in the past, and they're like, hey, are we gonna have to do that again? Like, well, we've got to merge before this difficulty bomb goes off. And so basically, he's saying that the merge is ready, okay? And that they're now only testing, and they expect the merge to happen in August, okay? Because they're teasing this out. They're like, hey, we're gonna have to do this before the difficulty bomb goes off. It's like, yeah, maybe not. You can watch the clip if you want to. I'll put a link to it in the live chat replay here. There's a lot of sort of like dancing around the question, but basically there's an implication that that's the plan right now is to merge in August, which is really soon. It's a lot sooner than people think. You might think it's months and months and months away, but that's within 90 days of now, which is pretty insane. Okay, so we've been talking about, the merge happening on the Ethereum test network on June 8th on the Robston testnet. Again, it's based on I think it's a total difficulty hash They don't do it on block time, so basically it's really hard. It's a lot harder to forecast exactly when it's going to happen. But there's an estimate that the Ropsten merge is going to happen on June 8th. Okay, and probably what's going to happen is you're practice the merge on these test networks, and then one at a time. So we have test networks for Ethereum, which are basically just blockchains that they don't cost any real money. Right, it's where you can just do things without any financial consequence, okay? And so basically the merge is such a big deal because you're talking about taking two blockchains that both have billions of dollars on top of them and then basically squishing them together and making them become one. And you have to preserve all the value of the billions of dollars in each of those chains without anything going wrong. So you need to practice it several times. We've got the Ropsten testnet merge scheduled for June 8th. And so what's going to happen is we're going to do that. If it's successful, then I'll move on to that one. I believe there's 3 testnet merges. There'll probably be a few weeks in between. Okay, and then assuming that all goes well with each of those, with no real big issues, then we might actually see this August timeline that they're talking about and merging for ETH 2.0 before the difficulty bomb goes off. Okay, so this is significant. All right, and this could be one of the things that kind of retains a lot of people in crypto and gives us something to look forward to right now, especially while the space is quiet and while things are kind of bearish. Okay, so on the topic of that, like, I'm not going to get too far into the speculation about what's going to happen with the ETH, the price of ETH based on this. Okay, but here's some possible things that I hear people talking about that are somewhat plausible. Okay, they're loaded with many assumptions, but let's kind of just talk about them for entertainment purposes only. Not financial advice. I'm not making any like massive financial bets on this, but the composition of the crypto space really is changing. Over time, since I've been in this space since 2017, we had a very Bitcoin dominant market, a very Bitcoin led market, where basically the whole idea is like, people were, basically trading, altcoins as like leveraged Bitcoin trades with the idea of trying to accumulate more Bitcoin. We didn't have wide stablecoin adoption initially. Okay. We had like Tether. People didn't trust it as much as they do now. So the idea was like, you're just trying to do all this stuff to get more Bitcoin, stay in the Bitcoin space. And then sort of the entire crypto cycles were theorized, to be around the Bitcoin halving. Now, we still don't even know if that's 100% true or not, right? But let's just assume that, the economics, let's assume that Bitcoin dominance is a huge factor in the crypto space, and that basically, the Bitcoin halving cycles where we're changing the supply and demand economics of Bitcoin itself, like reducing the amount of Bitcoin hitting the market, actually has some impact on the price trajectory of Bitcoin over time, and whether that just becomes a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that when numbers start to go up more, then that kind of attracts hype into the space, right? And so one possibility here that's people talking about a lot is the composition of the crypto market changing, and it really is. It's just how much, right? So let's say that ETH kind of becomes a more dominant player in the market, which I think that it already is. Like, I don't think it's like stealing the show from Bitcoin by any stretch of the imagination. But let's say basically what's happening in the Ethereum ecosystem, what's happening as far as demand for ETH, the asset itself, becomes a significant factor into the inflows to the broader crypto space, and that ETH can sort of lead the show at certain times. So let's take that as an assumption, right? There's many assumptions with all these things. Let's take that as an assumption. Well, the ETH 2.0 merge don't forget, it's called the triple halving. Okay, so much like the Bitcoin halving, where every 4 years the Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin hitting the market gets cut in half. Like, people are mining the Bitcoin chain, and then basically, Bitcoin becomes less inflationary. The amount of Bitcoin getting produced gets cut in half. That's the whole halving idea. So ETH is going to go the triple halving. So, ETH is going to be deflationary after the merge, assuming that the network activity stays the same. So if it's going to undergo a triple halving, all right, and then even if the demand for ETH, the asset itself, just stays the same, like it's going to have an impact on the price, okay? And there's going to be two, and you might fall back and say, well, the demand is dropping because we're in a bear market, so it's not going to matter at all. There is something to that, but I do think that there is also something to the fact that there's a lot of people like me watching the merge and using it as a trade, especially if things are have some sort of temporary bottom, like a local bottom. Let's say the overall crypto market's been in a bear market, but we had a local bottom, kind of like we saw in 2018 where stuff kind of like flattened out for a while. If that's the case, I really could see people kind of packing into ETH as a trade, waiting for the merge to happen, and sort of anticipation of that. So that can also be another factor. So I think we could very likely see a lot of attention and eyeballs on Ethereum very soon, especially as this news of a potential August merge starts to become, more widely known. All right. As we get closer to that date, like as these testnet merges, become successful, like it's going to be more widely known. And eventually what's going to happen is stuff's going to be successful whenever they know when it's going to happen. They're just going to announce the block number. Well, it's probably not going to be the block number again. It's going to be the based on the total difficulty. But whenever it does, that's going to be significant. Now, let's talk about what happens after the merge, because don't forget, it's going to be months and months and months after the merge before people can actually withdraw ETH, okay? Because there's going to be a cleanup period where essentially, because right now if you go stake ETH on the ETH 2.0 network, you have to go send it to that blockchain, and you can't get it back. So if you stake it right now, it's totally locked up. And people think that whenever the merge happens, all that ETH's going to instantly become liquid and hit the market. That's not true. There's going to be a several month cleanup period after the merge before that ETH can hit the market. So let's say it's 4 months, say it's 6 months, something like that. After August, let's say it's August. It could be 2023 and change before people can unlock their ETH. Okay. So think about ETH basically being deflationary, and then no new ETH actually entering, and here's the you have to understand, no new ETH is also going to be entering into circulation. It's not just the people who can't unstake. It's the people that are now rewarded with ETH from blocks, who are staking the network. They can't withdraw that either. All right. So I don't see a world where that's not going to have some impact on the price of Ether during that time. Now, that's all supply side, right? We have to factor in the demand, which is if we go into some more brutal bear market, is that even going to matter? I think it will. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Yeah, totally. Somebody says, can we get it on testnet when it comes out? Yeah, you can. Somebody says, what are your thoughts on price reaction to the increase in supply when staked ETH gets unlocked? Will it be priced in prior? It's really hard to know. You know what I mean? There's going to be significant amount of information asymmetry among the really smart people, and so it's hard to know what they're going to do. I don't try to trade this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't try to forecast it, because there's so many factors involved in knowing exactly what it's going to do. Somebody says, will this merge push all the crypto market? Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say from earlier is I do see a scenario where ETH can be a big player in the crypto space. There's a possibility that Ethereum could flip Bitcoin with time and become the dominant cryptocurrency, the number one cryptocurrency on the list. It is a possibility, all right? There's a lot of people who say it's never going to happen. Some people that are totally convinced it's going to happen. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, right? You know, I hold both Ether and Bitcoin, but there's so much that you can do with Ether that that's one of the reasons that I think that it can be, right? If you're talking about network effect, talking about reasons to hold Ether than just a store of value, if we're talking about it becoming a dominant smart contract platform, which it already is, right? And then that, you know, just more and more value accruing to that over time, becoming deflationary, becoming a staking asset where you can earn yield, a productive asset. Like there's just more and more reasons why you'd want to hold Ether, especially when it becomes deflationary. Yeah, I can explain the cleanup period more, what mechanisms are keeping it locked. So, you know, I don't know everything that's going to happen during the cleanup period. They have it on their roadmap. You can check it out on the let's see here. Let's see here. They've got a list of the stuff here. Let's see here. Okay, here it is. So basically, the merge and the beacon chain. Okay, so the merge and the post-merge cleanup. So immediately after the merge, some features such as withdrawing staked ETH will not yet be supported. So basically, they're planned for a separate upgrade to follow shortly after the merge. But you know, the word on the street that's going to be months after the merge actually takes place. So you can follow the Ethereum Foundation Research and Development blog. So actually, here's a pretty good resource. So what happens after the merge? This is
so far we've had.
This is actually from Vitalik himself. So if you want to go watch this video to find out exactly what happens after the merge, I'll put it in the live chat replay here. It's an hour-long video, so I don't want to go through the entire thing right now. And it looks like it's pretty in-depth. Okay. So we got some pretty heady technical topics in here. Okay, so definitely go check that if you want the deep dive on exactly what's going to happen. So do I ever have pangs of worry that this whole NFT crypto smart contract flash loan fad could go the way of the dodo bird and that all of our hard work and study will end up being not useful? I do. So yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I understand that feeling for sure. I mean, I got in the crypto space in 2017 and really started building out my skills in a much more robust way, like in 2018. Like while at the entire space looked like it was absolutely doomed. It looked a lot worse than it does now. I'll put it that way. Okay. But so I understand the feeling, right? Like back then it was way worse. It was way worse. Like there was a significant chance that like crypto was not gonna ever like recover. And there was a pretty good chance, like there was a significant chance that like we weren't actually going to be able to create any useful technology. Okay. Now, those are chances, those are probabilities. Okay. Nobody knew for sure what was going to happen. But like, I was of the opinion that basically, like back then, okay, we had ICOs, we had tokens, we had smart contracts, and we were just scratching the surface of what we could do with it. We knew there was a ton of potential here. We just didn't know what the first killer use cases were going to be that actually took off. We had the seeds of those things planted already. We had NFTs. We had, DeFi. It was kind of like an idea in people's heads. Okay. Now, I mean, we had CryptoKitties at the beginning of, at the end of 2017. Like it was a child of that era. Okay. But it was too early, right? It was too early before people got really excited about it. We had CryptoPunks ship later. Okay, they just preceded those hype cycles, okay? But then DeFi started to come out. And I remember whenever I saw like compound finance and MakerDAO, those are some of the first applications where I was like, oh, okay, like this is like where everything's headed. Okay. And of course, we've seen massive hype cycles with DeFi. All the Ponzi yield stuff. Like, I'm not saying that that's game change. Like, not saying that all that's going to be, there forever, right? Some of that stuff's going to totally die off. But we have so many more use cases that are just not going away now. So, in terms of individual winners and losers on projects, in terms of individual cryptocurrencies, individual NFTs, I'm not worried about those things because I know a lot of it is just going to get erased from memory and nobody's going to care about it ever again. That is totally true. I've been totally transparent about all that. But at the end of the day, like, I'm really trying to help people develop hard technical skills to provide value in this industry. And that's exactly where you want to be right now, especially while things are down, because we're building the next wave of, technological innovation here. And it's all surrounding DeFi, NFTs, metaverse. Okay, that's where the core use cases that everybody is laser focused on, and those really aren't going away. They're really not going away. Now, to the degree to which they will get adopted, that's still a question mark. It's still a question mark. Okay, there's no guarantee that like your grandmother is going to be, using blockchain technology in 5 years. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. Okay. But space going away, no. Like permissionless finance is here to stay. We're just scratching the surface of what we can do with NFTs. We could handle the entire U.S. real estate volume of transactions per day on top of the Ethereum layer 1 blockchain without any scaling issues. It's the regulation that's the issue there. I mean, there's so many ways we can use blockchain to make things better, faster, cheaper. We just have to solve some of the things that are holding us back. And I do think that a lot of these things will get solved over time. You just have to resist the temptation that most people have in crypto, which is short-term gratification. There are times when when the space leaps forward like crazy in a matter of months, but that's not really the expectation of every single day, week, or month in the crypto space. Especially not as, I can tell you that, not as somebody who's been here for, better, over half a decade. Or I should say about half a decade. Spaces will never go away because it's so transparent. You can't rightfully shut down legitimate operations like this. Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of that. Like, part of it's a Pandora's box situation. Like, Pandora has been let out of the box, and there's no stuffing it back in. There's just no stuffing it back in. Especially by shorting Terra at 85 cents. That's crazy. There's a lot will fail for sure. Yeah, there's lots of projects that are going to fail. That's why picking individual winners and losers is so risky. Now, for the long term, I mean, short term, I'm definitely not against any type of short-term opportunities. I mean, short-term opportunities are great. It's just how do you don't want to FOMO your life savings into short-term opportunities. Let's see. Do they move ETH 2.0 update to now. Oh, when did they move? They haven't necessarily moved it. It's just we have an updated timeline when that's going to be. Let's see here. Value of the dollar sucks a lot worse than my crypto. Yeah, makes sense. Somebody says, sorry, the next giant altering collapse will happen before ETH 2.0. I mean, we could see some of the economy get a lot worse before then. All right, so let's actually check what's trending on chain right now. So I'm gonna look at all the contracts that were recently deployed that have significant financial inflows. So we got a lot of NFT projects going on here. Let's just see here. We got a lot of rich list depositors here. Let's go look at this one. So Boardbox. So let's see the Boardbox NFT. So this is what I do on a daily basis, basically checking the trends on chain, able to actually use blockchain data to find out which projects have significant TVL, financial inflows, to see where people are actually spending money. Because you can go look at projects and see, like, who's, shilling stuff on Discord or Twitter. But it's hard. You don't have any transparency into that. You don't know who's actually putting money into it. And so if you can track proprietary systems, people have, significant wallet balances and reputation, you can see what they're actually buying and then look at the project actually matter. And so that, because also if you're just like mining social media, mining Discord, you're also behind. So I realize I'm talking about this on social media right now. It's kind of ironic, but, I'm able to use these tools to find out this stuff before that. And so if you want access, you can definitely check the link, down below. So let's just take a look to see what this is. So click it out. Let's look at the Boardbox here. So it's like an NFT project. Again, I'm not making this is not financial advice to recommend this project necessarily. It's not a sponsored video or anything. I'm literally just seeing what's happening, what's there. This is how I do my daily research. So yeah, there's a mint. You can see the mint is happening right now. Okay, so let's see here. From the website, the Boardbox NFT collection. So again, people talk about the crypto space being down. The NFT space is still, we're still seeing NFT projects launch on a daily basis, and we're still seeing people flip these things at a profit. So Boardbox, they partner with the best blockchain studios to create 5 great items for players, owners like you. Yeah, we're definitely seeing a trend of these gaming projects. Okay, we've been looking at these. We saw a couple in the past couple days where you're able to actually go inside of a game and do the minting experience that way. It's pretty cool. It makes it a lot harder to just fork websites and just do copy and paste minting events, where you can actually do some sort of metaverse experience to mint. Okay, so we've got a real minting event happening right now. So what is the site that we use? There's a link down below. It's a block site. Let's see here. Too much. Too much dead air on streams while you read comments, questions from your viewer. Yawns. Awesome. Thank you for that constructive feedback. All right, I'll do a quick peek at the crypto markets, answer a couple more questions, and we'll wrap up for today. So surprise, surprise, Bitcoin is basically stuck in the same range. So we've had a little sharper correction over the past, hour or so. I mean, there's just not a whole lot to say. Nothing significant has happened in the past several days. I mean, you could sit here and try to say that Bitcoin's failing to make higher highs, but like, who's really surprised by that, right? The real question is what's going to happen next, and nobody knows for sure. Let's take a look at what's going on with the stock market here. In my opinion, it feels like we're just in a waiting game. We're in this waiting game to figure out, what's going to happen with the broader macro scene. Which, if you can find me a person who's been right about the macro prediction, like at all, in the past 24 months, like I would love to have that person on my channel and ask them their thoughts. Because almost everybody that I've seen comment on the macro scene in the past couple of years has just been like dead wrong. So the real question is, are we in a recession now? What's the Fed going to do with interest rates? What's the market going to think about that? Are we already in a recession? Has the Fed forced a recession, and is a recession going to do its job rather than actually having to raise interest rates beyond what's going on right now? Because it seems like the play here to help cool off inflation is basically destroy demand. So you can destroy demand in multiple ways. You can destroy demand with basically making it harder to borrow money. You know what I mean? Which cools off demand for it's just less risk, right? Like you're not going to be taking on debt to do things. It lowers people's desire to buy houses. It lowers people's desire to finance automobiles. That's just on the consumer side of things, right? But you're also talking about what that does for businesses and institutions. Like, you're seeing growth stocks get decimated. That's a huge factor too. And then basically there's the wealth effect. So anybody who's invested in the stock market, even if you're not anybody's invested in the stock market, feels poor right now. I know a lot of people aren't. They lost a lot of paper gains. But it changes consumer confidence. And we're already seeing that. We're already seeing an oversupply in stores like Target, Walmart, all that type of stuff. We've definitely slowed the economy. Whether we're in a recession or not, we won't know until the numbers come out and they actually release the data after the conclusion of this quarter. Okay, that's what a recession is. You have to wait 2 quarters. A recession is 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, where the economy shrinks 2 consecutive quarters. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna be a bad recession. I'm not saying it's gonna be like a nightmare recession like we've seen in the past. Everybody has this bias where they want to copy and paste history to the present moment. It just doesn't work that way. So, all those factors are at play. And really, when is the stock market, turn, bullish again? Well, it's really hard to say. You know what I mean? We've got to see what's going to happen. The real thing that should unnerve everybody is that one institution has such a massive influence on the direction of where the number heads, right? That's the real issue here. So we'll just have to wait and see. If a recession can destroy demand, raising interest rates can, destroy demand. Basically just racking the shotgun and talking about it before you actually do it's what popped the bubble and caused the stock market to go down. They didn't even really raise any rates. They just said they were going to raise rates, and then the entire thing falls apart. So we will see. I just don't think crypto is going to rip off to infinity while the stock market's in this bearish drudgery. Now, that being said, we are seeing, crypto track a lot closer with like tech stocks, growth stocks. Okay. So you can look at like, you can look at like the QQQ. You can look directly at like the NASDAQ 100, right? You can look at the NASDAQ overall, being more heavily weighted tech. So, I mean, crypto is a lot more correlated with that type of stuff, okay, right now. And for all the people who want to copy and paste history and put it on the present moment again, I don't pretend to be a macro expert by any stretch of the imagination, right? I don't pretend to know exactly what's happening. But, if you want to take some influence from the past, like in prior cycles, prior, bear markets and the stock market, like we've seen stuff like growth and tech, bottom way before other major indices do. Like, so we've seen scenarios where it's like Amazon, when it got absolutely wrecked, I think it was in the 2000 crash, like it bottomed and started to recover, and I did like a multiples of its low before I think like the S&P 500 even found a bottom. So like there are scenarios where, basically like growth stocks and crypto find a bottom and start, making a recovery and pushing towards new highs, like while the S&P 500 is still like just going down every day. Like that is a possible scenario. It's happened in the past. I mean, crypto wasn't around when that happened, but if you extrapolate the data and say that crypto is highly correlated to tech and growth, then it is a possible scenario. So we'll see. We're just going to have to see, wait for the inflation data to come out. Wait to see what's going to happen. A lot of people wondering, is the Fed going to pivot? Is the Fed going to realize that all they had to do was rack the shotgun? They didn't actually have to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to hike a couple times, and then, maybe they don't do QT. It's like, I could see that playing out because it's a classic negotiation tactic. It's like you come on strong, and then you back off. And then you find out who is the biggest, who was the biggest pansy in the situation. Well, the market just absolutely freaked out, and then just like, okay, Mr. Fed, like, we'll sell all our stocks. So we'll see. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But says until some framework is in place for regulation, big money will wait and agree. Yeah, I think that's true. Like, there's a lot of money that's hesitant to get into crypto because of the regulatory uncertainty. I think that is a factor for sure. Especially people who think it's only this administration that is the problem are absolutely silly. It's been a long time coming. Well, the only problem with that is one of the reasons that the cycle happened in the first place is because of easy money. Like, the fact that we got like all this money injected into the economy is why, probably, like, arguably, why we saw this massive rally happen over the past 2 years. And it's like the repercussions of that, it's sort of like an equal and opposite reaction. It's like when crypto goes up in a parabola, it falls real hard. So when you basically make the S&P 500 trade like a small cap crypto, like it's gonna correct pretty hard. And a lot of that's just got to do with how much money was sitting there just floating around. And interest rates, interest rates are a huge factor on that. When you take interest rates down to negative, basically, in real terms, like way negative real terms, like, what's the incentive? The incentive is to borrow money and use leverage. And you got a massive leverage bubble that's unwinding right before your eyes. Does E 2.0 change that for Dapp devs? Not significantly. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Daily episode videos out, so the more we can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you'll take a master's or cut entirely, I actually become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp.